I've never actually seen No Country for Old Men or Inside Llewyn Davis.
I haven't seen Llewyn Davis, but I like No Country for Old Men. I'm just not It's not one of those movies I can watch again and again and again.
I've surprisingly have never seen it. So
really,
yeah, I've never seen it.
It's got a real shitty ending, in my opinion.
I think the ending was just fine with it.
I've heard things about it. I know people like it, and I've heard some things about it. I've never really sat down to.
I feel like you'd probably agree with Tom though for the ending, because I feel like you guys have a similar quality and taste for it.
Probably.
And based on, it's not spoiling anything if I say how you didn't like the Mist's ending.
Oh, I hate the Mist.
I might not have if I hadn't got it spoiled for me.
Yeah,
but I'm not always a fan of those endings either, because to me they feel like they're just trying to be 1970s endings, and it's like, yeah, the 70s are over.
Yeah. In some cases, the story you're watching does not need that ending. That's just like sometimes they're out of the blue. It's like, what? And it's just like that's not the type of movie you use that ending on.
I feel like I'd agree with that for some movies, but that goes into a whole discussion on what qualifies or why should movies have certain endings as they are, essentially.
Like, I personally,
it kind of depends. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say with The Mist, I personally prefer the book ending because it leaves it open to where it's in your mind where either they're dead or they're alive, because it leaves them going down like a road. You know,
like Stephen King's a funky one where he doesn't never knows how to end his shit.
He is bad endings.
Yes, I mean, I found it like a tragic thing that you don't see often. Like, I haven't seen that in like anything where it's that like it just right there. If you just waited a couple of minutes, everything would have been totally different.
See, the way it was explained, I haven't seen it, so I can't really. But from what it was explained to me, it felt kind of cheap, and that's what I hate. Is those kind of cheap, toss you in the last minute endings, kind of like what was that one, Identity with John Cusack, where
I feel like this was where I feel like it's kind of where it was heading based on the events that you see in the film and what the characters see. I think it makes sense for where they were going because of how traumatic everything was that they went through. Like, do they want to just all experience that as well? No. So I thought the decision was a logical one and one that made sense for the end of the movie.
You know, I don't know. I thought it wasn't, and they changed that ending on that. I just can't get into movies when they do that. There's some movies that deserve that type of ending, and it fits the story. But I don't think like The Mist, it didn't deserve that type of ending. That's just
to me, it's the kind of thing where if you're left with the choice to keep it like completely with the book or make these slight changes to it, because I don't know how it compares to the rest of the book in general. If the rest of the movie is aligned with it enough or adapted well enough to it. This is that type of change where I think that's a bold change where it either will screw you or it will help you. I feel like it's one of those middle of the road ones. I don't know if there's anybody that's in between on it. They're either for it or against it. And that's the audience that'll split with it. Because I not having read the book either, I just saw the movie as it was. And from, I guess, the movie palette that I have, this was like the first time I saw something where that type of thing happened, like that traumatic.
You should watch more 70s movies.
Because I've seen, it's usually more of like they get saved at the end, is usually, or they run on, or it's a happy ending of some kind.
Well, and I don't always disagree with
or there's a last second jump scare. And that's what I'm used to.
You always need like an overly happy ending either. Like, I just disagree with sometimes with it. And this comes as flat out of the 70s, where you have this like ending come out of fucking nowhere, where the main character will just fucking die, get killed, some stupid shit like that, just for no good. It's like, what? Wait, what? Like, it was this cynical thing. And to me, when they do that cheap shit, it feels like that, and it's just like, oh, please.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I feel like that doesn't apply to The Mist. I feel like there's other movies.
It may not. I haven't watched it yet. I have to watch it. I haven't seen it.
This is a rare occurrence where there's two movies. You haven't seen No Country for Old Men, and you haven't seen The Mist. I've seen both. Yes, score one.
Well, my point was No Country pulls it off a little better because the Coen brothers actually clearly love cinema.
It
feels like a 1970s movie.
Yeah.
But like a perfect example of this was Kevin Smith when he did Clerks. He had Dante get shot at the end for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
That's how the original
I hope we're
movie
not
ended.
spoiling everything for everybody if they care. But then again,
Most
these are old
people have
movies,
seen
so it
these.
doesn't
Most
matter.
people
Clerks, that's not even
That's
in the
true.
movie now.
Yeah,
it's not
that's
even in the
not
movie.
Really?
It's only on the original version, and it's just there just for no other fucking reason than the producer or the people at the time, I think, that bought the film said it's just because you don't know how to fucking end the movie. It's like the movie ends when it's closed. You don't need this extra bullshit because it does. It feels like pretentious indie film shit, which is what all those movies were trying to be at that time. Was every '70s movie, and Tarantino and the Coen brothers and a few others Soderbergh could do that kind of shit. And there's, I'm sure, a few others you guys could name in the chat, but otherwise, a lot of them just come off pretentious.
Yeah.
Like the only one who kind of teetered that line and then went over that line was Shyamalama Ding Dong.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
like Sixth Sense, Unbreakable worked. From there on out, everything he tried was clearly just because. You know, it's like no. You built up to that before. Now you're just throwing this shit out there.
Well, so this might be a reasonable question then. Like, what type of films would you compare to? They don't have to be the ones we're talking about. If we're trying to come up with different comparison, like what ones do you think are trying to be edgy compared to ones that do something well?
Because I thought The Mist was trying to be edgy. I thought The Mist, the way when it says I don't think it deserved that ending, the way that story was playing out, the way where it was headed, and especially from the book, is it didn't. That ending like just comes out of nowhere. It's just like for pure just shock value, and it's not. It doesn't benefit the story at all.
Entirely.
It does not benefit the story
everything
at all.
Everything that they see, the people experience from these creatures, they don't want to experience that. Like it seems like
it's stupid. I'm sorry, you're never going to change my mind on it. It's just stupid. I understand there are some people that like it, and that's fine. And that's fine if you like it, and that's the ending you're going for. But it's just for pure shock value, and it's a pointless ending. The story could have ended so much differently, and it's such more. You could even end it in a much more shocking way that would have fit the movie. Besides that, that just felt wrong.
Yeah,
so I guess my question would be, what is an example of a movie where they do something like that you would say is not edgy?
Well, like I said, Sixth Sense is a good example of it, to where it's clearly built up to that, right? Or even a better example is Unbreakable, right? I love that because that twist ending isn't even really like a Sixth Sense kind of twist ending so much as it is, you know, just kind of this realization that both characters have, and it's this great kind of twist that you have that's there right in front of you the whole time.
Well,
right? It's like, there.
That's a twist, though, I'd say. What happens in The Mist, I'd say it's different than a twist.
That's the thing, though, and that's what Greg and I are talking about. There's a difference between actually having a twist, which is something that's set up that kind of feels like it comes out of left field, but once you reevaluate things, you're like, oh, okay. Something like that, where you just have a character get killed, or somebody does something just before, something like that. Like The Mist, I can see there could be an argument for. I have to watch it again, leading up to that point. You know, but like one of the better examples of where it's done well is Night of the Living Dead.
Yes.
Like that is one of the first 1970s films before the 70s, because
I'll need
the
to
ending
see
of
that
the
one
film is set up in a way where it's trying to say something, but at the same time, it just so happened that history coalesced with the film. It made it much more poignant at the time than it ever could have been. And that's simply because you have a black lead who gets shot at the end for no other reason than they think he might be a zombie.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And the thing of it is like when George Romero set out to make the movie, he wasn't hiring a black lead just because he was trying to be edgy and, you know, stuff like that. The guy came in and he was like, "You're the best actor for the role." That's why he got the role. You know, there was not set up. It just happened to coincide with history. Like Tom said, it just all kind of worked together in his favor.
What I mean by that is, I don't know if you're aware of this, Rook, but as they were literally on the way to editing the final reel, they got the news that Martin Luther King had been shot.
Oh,
and for a few minutes, they debated on even having that ending anymore. Because they're like, does it send the wrong message? What is it saying? And finally,
that same thing happened with the Two Towers a lot, right?
And Romero's like, fuck it. We're just going to go forward with it, basically, you know, and be damned one way or the other. Maybe the impact now could mean more than if we don't. kind of thing. I think is what he was trying to say. But yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's a good choice for the directors to go through, because I've seen that happen where even in Pokemon there's like a tentacle monster that destroys a building, and they're like in the intro, and they're like, do we keep that in or not with it? But
do we just compare Pokemon to
no, sorry,
no,
I'll bring it. I want to bring it back to this for a second. Night of the Living Dead to my queue so I can watch it,
but that's just a good point of it. A random act of whatever happening, but it could happen, especially in that chaos. But when it happens in other films, like in the 70s, they were just doing it to be edgy.
Well, the question that I guess I have then is, do you think that it's like for fans saying with The Mist? Do you think that the characters wouldn't have made that choice, or you think?
I truly do. I truly do not think the man in that movie would have made that choice.
Was Stephen King even a father yet? That's another question you got to ask yourself, because there's a lot of creatives that were Steven Spielberg and others who have said, they would have done things way differently had they been fathers at the time they made these movies, right? Because I'm with Greg on this one. Like, knowing the ending, there is no way I would do that to my kid regardless. Like, it's my job, one way or the other, whether I go first to set this kid up to survive, because that's all that fucking matters, right? And, to me, I can't equate that. It doesn't. I know that there's this thing where, in history, you've had stories of mothers and people having to sacrifice their kids for certain situations. But in 9.999 cases out of 10, I just don't see how a father could do that.
Yeah,
that just goes against every bone in your body.
And it's so dumb. It's so dumb too, because if I remember, how many people are left in the car? Is it 3 or 4?
There's two old people and the girl that was there. Him,
him, his son, the girl, and I think maybe somebody else. And he's only got 3 bullets. No fucking way he's going to shoot all them.
He had 4 bullets. There's 5 people total.
And there's no way he's going to, after watching the movie and the type of character this man is, there's no way he would do that. And there's no way he's dumb enough after he does it to get out of the car screaming and crying and put the gun in his mouth, pulling the trigger repeatedly, thinking he can shoot himself. It's just,
hold on, though. No. After he just did what he did, he doesn't want to live anymore. It doesn't matter. He's not thinking at that point.
If he doesn't want to live anymore, he's not going to put the gun in his mouth. He's not going to put the gun in his mouth and try to shoot when he knows he doesn't have any bullets. He would get a knife or something and just kill himself.
I'm just saying, I don't know. If you're watching, if you're seeing characters in a certain situation, I don't know how you think they're going to be. The people at the store were going crazy. They weren't exactly acting intelligently with stuff.
That's completely different than
I don't know,
because they have been removed from that craziness. They're on the run.
How do you know they have a knife? They're in a car.
I'm just saying, if he had something else, he would do it.
You're right. I would agree.
I think of a similar scene where there isn't even a kid involved, and I love it because what's his face in Dawn of the Dead, when he's sitting there and he thinks it's his last moments, and he's like, "Fuck it." And he takes the shot. He gets the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
What's his face? I just forgot his name. When there's more room in hell.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God, what is his name?
You know who I'm thinking of, but I just forgot his name.
What is his name? I know it because I've seen him in a bunch of movies. Oh my God. How is this? Kim
Foray. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because when you get that moment in a movie, I can see that. Like in a zombie movie where all hope is fucking lost. But even in movies like that, and one that was made in the heart of the 70s, Peter Merrill's like, fuck it, I'm going to let the black guy live this time.
Yeah, because this time is completely out of, because you're going into the movie thinking that he's going to die, just like Night of the Dead. And it turns out he's the fucking hero of this movie, and he gets to live with the chick. So, at the end, he's just
everybody else instead dies. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only sad one is his buddy when he gets bit.
Yeah.
Really, because the husband guy. I can't believe I'm forgetting all their names. It's been a while since I watched.
I know, me too.
He deserved it, but yeah.
But I'm not saying if you like the ending of The Mist and you think it's good, that's fine. It's fine.
Well,
but to me,
I agree. I knowing
feel like that's with kids and the character, and actually having read the novel, it's completely out of left field. It doesn't fit the story. It's unnecessary. I do not believe for one second this man, especially the way Thomas Jane portrays him, would get to that point of irrationality when, for the most of the movie, he is the most calm, level-headed person while everybody else is going crazy. Just doesn't fly with me. I'm sorry. But on that note,